Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating concept, restorative justice. Specifically, we're going to look at how prioritizing victim healing completely reshapes our traditional models of justice. So let's explore exactly what happens after a crime occurs and how society can better navigate that aftermath to create, genuine resolution.
Does punishment equal closure? Now you might be wondering about that. When we hear about a crime, our societal reflex, our immediate gut reaction, is to seek consequences for the perpetrator, right? And it's true. Punishing an offender absolutely can provide a sense of justice and closure for some victims. It publicly validates the wrong that was done. But, and this is a big but, this approach has a significant blind spot. Just punishing the offender doesn't magically erase the aftermath of the event for the person who is actually harmed.
Okay, let's dive into this with Section 1, the limits of punishment.
Think about it like this. When a sentence is handed down, the legal system might consider a case completely closed, giving that vital sense of justice to society. But for the victim, their journey is often literally just beginning. Punishing a perpetrator doesn't naturally address the immediate needs or those long-term consequences of trauma. A prison sentence doesn't pay a hospital bill, it doesn't cure PTSD, and it certainly doesn't replace lost income. If we only focus on penalizing the wrongdoer, we leave this massive gap where the victim's actual recovery needs lie entirely unaddressed.
Moving on to Section 2, direct impact on healing.
So if punishment alone isn't enough, what concrete interventions actually prioritize healing? While the source material points to 3 core methods: financial assistance, counseling and therapy, and support services. Instead of just some abstract philosophy, these are tangible, direct ways society can step in. We can actually shift from a purely punitive system to one that actively repairs harm. Let's look at how these 3 interventions operate in practice.
First up, financial assistance. Just think about the immediate aftermath of a crime. A victim might be hospitalized, entirely unable to work, all while the bills are just rapidly accumulating. This financial stress severely compounds the initial trauma. But by stepping in with compensation for medical expenses and lost wages, we remove a massive layer of anxiety. And that significantly improves a victim's quality of life during an incredibly vulnerable time. Now, beyond the physical and financial side of things, unseen wounds often take much longer to heal. Providing access to mental health services isn't just some secondary benefit. It's absolutely crucial. It's a critical tool for processing trauma. Through professional counseling and therapy, victims can develop those essential coping mechanisms. It provides the psychological scaffolding they need to process what happened and really learn to navigate the world again safely.
And finally, we have comprehensive support services. Because, let's be honest, navigating the legal system alone can be intensely re-traumatizing. Offering support groups breaks the profound isolation of trauma by connecting individuals with others who have shared similar experiences. Along with legal aid and practical resources, this acts to genuinely empower victims. It gives them the necessary community backing to rebuild their lives from the ground up.
Which brings us to Section 3, preventing future harm.
And this brilliantly illustrates a really important concept. A justice system shouldn't just react to victims, it should actively work to prevent new ones by addressing root causes. This requires a structural cycle of prevention. First, we invest in programs that rehabilitate offenders and strengthen community support systems. By addressing why an offender committed a crime in the first place and fostering a safer environment, we naturally trigger the second phase, reducing the likelihood of future crimes. And the end result? We actively protect potential victims. Investing in rehabilitation isn't just about the offender, it's actually a direct mechanism for broader societal protection.
Now for Section 4, restorative justice in action.
Moving beyond the individual and the wider community, we finally reach the actual interpersonal dynamic between the person who caused the harm and the person who suffered it. At this level, the key structural tool is victim-offender mediation. This involves safely, and voluntarily, of course, facilitating dialogue between victims and offenders. It's a radically different approach, really, where the state sort of steps back, and the 2 primary parties are brought together to communicate directly.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how this dialogue can unlock a profound mutual benefit. It promotes understanding, forgiveness, and healing for both parties. When facilitated correctly, it allows the offender to see the real human impact of their actions, fostering true internalized accountability. At the same time, it allows the victim to ask questions and express their pain directly to the source, and that can be a massive catalyst for their own long-term healing.
Let's wrap things up with Section 5, a balanced justice system.
You know, emphasizing victim support and restorative practices does not mean abandoning accountability. Punishment and support are not mutually exclusive concepts. A truly just society seamlessly incorporates both. We need accountability, ensuring the appropriate punishment of the perpetrator to uphold the law, sitting right alongside compassion, prioritizing the immediate and long-term needs of victims and focusing on healing. Both the offense against society and the trauma inflicted on the individual must be addressed with equal seriousness.
So the crucial point is that ultimately there is no one-size-fits-all solution. The most effective approach varies depending on the specific circumstances of the crime and the individual experiences of the victim. What heals one person might not be what another needs to move forward. True justice requires flexibility and a deep, sustained attention to the unique human reality of each individual case.
We've seen the limits of a system focused solely on punishment and the profound impact of directly supporting healing in restorative dialogue. So I leave you with this question. How will we tailor justice for the next victim? As we build a more compassionate society, how do we ensure that the systems we rely on are ready not just to punish the guilty, but to genuinely heal the harmed? Thank you for joining me for this explainer.